During this hard time, positivity is one of the only things that we want to be contagious. Our frontline workers are working harder than ever to keep our country afloat. According to Bobby Joseph and Marilyn Joseph, quote, there are 59 million healthcare workers worldwide, recognizing the vital role played by healthcare workers as one of the most valuable resources for health, end quote. In this footage from the South China Post, it shows two doctors dancing ballet after they released one of their last COVID-19 patients from the hospital. Doctors are working hard, but delivery personnel, fast food workers, and grocery employees are working harder than ever to make sure that we have all of our essential needs taken care of. This Inside Edition video shows the essential workers hard at work during their long days.
You see a delivery guy or a store clerk on your brief forays out from home. Tell them thank you. They really are the unsung heroes of the head-spinning moment we're in.
You are my hero. You're amazing.
They are hard at work while most Americans stay home.
Stay safe out here.
Mail carriers, delivery drivers.
I'm proud of you.
That's the voice of a Manhattan resident reminding us that without these everyday heroes, everything would grind to a halt.
Somebody got to keep the power going.
Grocery store workers are considered essential employees. If they didn't go to work, those empty shelves would stay empty.
I'm really grateful for all the people out there that are leaving their homes and putting themselves in danger for the benefit
Today,
of
we aim to allow you to understand the benefits of spreading positivity and what you can do on a personal level to help the front line. We're here to talk about the effects of spreading positivity, why it is important, and what you can do to help.
Helping out others is something we all should do, especially in times like these. It is mutualistic, which means that both parties benefit, the person assisting and the person receiving the assistance. According to S.T. Pressman, a psychologist at UC Irvine, he says, quote, for example, naturally occurring altruism and volunteering behavior have been related to increased life satisfaction, decreased depression, lower blood pressure, and even increased longevity, end quote. Random acts of kindness are necessary in times like these, no matter who is doing or receiving them. The coronavirus is well over 1 million cases, and we need to take action, fast. It is devastating everyone in the world, and according to Lauren Sauer, MS, the Director of Operations with the Johns Hopkins Office of Critical Event Preparedness and Response and Director of Research with the Johns Hopkins Biocontainment Unit, says, in rare cases, COVID-19 can lead to severe respiratory problems, kidney failure, or death, end quote. The coronavirus is a vast issue. We need to support families, workers, and everyone in between to combat this thing properly and quickly.
Moving on, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention on the Coronavirus says, quote, coronaviruses are a large family of viruses that are common in people and many different species of animals, including camels, cattle, cats, and bats, end quote. There are several negatives with this pandemic, which is a worldwide spread of disease, being businesses shutting down, families not working, can't afford food, and minimal economic flow. Small businesses can be the heart of some communities, and most are not doing too well due to the coronavirus. Jobs are suffering, and no work leads to no money, which ultimately ends up with big issues. Next, most patients with the coronavirus end up recovering, but some are not so fortunate and require a ventilator, which is a tube that goes down the throat to give their lungs a break and provide oxygen. Many hospitals have a limited supply of this very vital equipment because it is very expensive. Johns Hopkins Medicine says that the mortality and death rate are rising for patients who have to be put on ventilators. A nurse, Derek Smith, watched a patient die in front of him as he passed. The patient said, quote, who's going to pay for it? End quote. This is so sad. Our society is concerned about the money and financial aspect when they're on their deathbed. We need to change society's view and be able to care about others and their families and safety of the people and not the money. In summation, it is essential we change society and the pressures it puts on its people. Patients are concerned about finances on their deathbed. That's outrageous.
It is extremely important to stay positive, especially in the times we are facing now amidst a global pandemic. It is easy to lose sight of that, though. During these times in isolation, it's easy to feel alone and to fall into sadness. Today, I will be explaining why it is so important to stay positive. In order to stay positive, it doesn't mean that you have to shut the outside world out completely. From the Mayo Clinic, they state, quote, "Positive thinking just means that you approach unpleasantness in a more positive and productive way. You think the best is going to happen, not the worst," end quote. These times are scary and danger is real, but it doesn't do you any good to dwell on the worst case scenarios. There are a ton of health benefits that come from positive thinking. Also from the Mayo Clinic, a couple benefits that come from positive thinking are an increased lifespan, lower rates of depression, and even lower levels of distress. And all this could greatly impact you during this time. It's easy to become overwhelmed with stress or even depression, so it is extremely important that you have ways to cope and to deal with these emotions. And always remember that even though we are physically social distancing, we aren't emotionally social distancing. In an article published by Psychological Today, written by Kevin Foss, who is a licensed therapist in California and in Montana, and is also the founder of the California OCD and Anxiety Treatment Center in Fullerton, California. In his own words, he says to focus on what you can control. And a couple examples on focusing on what you can control would be a night routine, what you'll wear tomorrow, or even maybe how you speak to yourself. It is important to focus on what you can control versus what you can't. He also says to limit your social media intake. We live in 2020 where you can get news at the touch of a button. But when you are constantly refreshing your news and are updating and you become kind of fearful and scared for the future, it might be time to just take a break. He says you should also invest in uplifting by surrounding yourself with uplifting media. So maybe during these times, follow more accounts that create a positive, more optimistic outlook. He says lastly, just do your part. If you're feeling hopeless and powerless, just know that you aren't alone. Remember that staying home and washing your hands are saving lives. It may seem like a small task, but it actually all adds up and creates a huge impact. All these small acts add up and allow us to move forward. So do your part and encourage others to do so as well. Overall, it's easy to feel alone during these times. These times are scary and the future is uncertain. But remember how important it is to have a positive outlook. We will get through this together. We may be social distancing, but not everything is canceled. Reading isn't canceled, music isn't canceled, kindness isn't canceled, conversation isn't canceled, but most importantly, hope isn't canceled. Next, Michaela will explain the physical and mental benefits.
There are many mental and physical benefits to helping others and spreading positivity. Doing random acts of kindness or volunteering can give you a sense of belonging, help lead a happier lifestyle, and cause you to be more physically active. Kevin Brown, a lawyer in California, conducted a study showing how people with criminal pasts began to feel more included in their community that they had previously felt left out of after they began volunteering. It also helped their personal development. They created relationships with the people that they helped, which made them develop more friendships, which bettered their mental health. Many of the subjects even continued with their volunteering after the study was completed. In another study conducted by Stephen Post, a researcher at the University of Chicago Medical School, shows the many mental benefits of helping others. Post created an online questionnaire to survey a sample of volunteering American adults over the age of 18. It was found that 96% of the volunteers felt happier after helping someone in need. They also reported that they felt less stress, felt physically fitter, and that it helped them recover from loss. The volunteers had less trouble sleeping, less anxiety, and better social relationships. Post concluded his study by saying that positivity promotes chemical changes in the brain that have been linked to happiness, which should encourage more people to help others. Kelly Grossman, a writer for Yale General, gives her personal view on how spreading positivity can improve your own life. She talks about how she had been feeling depressed, burnt out on schoolwork, and felt like she didn't have time for anything she enjoyed in her life. Then she was offered an opportunity at a local food bank and began volunteering there. A few months later, Grossman noticed she had begun doing things that she had previously stopped doing, like painting and running.
Spreading positivity can not only help others, but it can also benefit you
It is
greatly.
important that during this time, we are doing all we can to spread happiness and positivity in our community. Everyone is having to go through a drastic change in their lifestyle and is having to adjust to this new normal, so by doing a small act of kindness, it can make all the difference in their day. Especially for essential business workers and frontline workers who are undergoing a lot of stress to make sure that we are safe, doing a small act of kindness for them would make the difference in their day. There are many benefits that come along with doing a small act of kindness that could benefit the other person and yourself. One of the things that you could do is write letters of appreciation to those who are working. So, for example, the next time you go to a grocery store, write a little letter of appreciation thanking the workers for what they are doing, and you can hand them to your cashier or to the people that you see working on the floor, and it could make their day so much better. Another big thing that people are doing is making surgical masks and handing them out, which has helped a ton. Although you may not know how to sew, there are still a ton of other small things that you can do to make a person's day. One of them being buying coffee or drinks from a local coffee shop and handing them out to your coworkers if you still go to work, or even to your family and friends. Doing the small acts of kindness can not only make the other person feel appreciated and motivated, it can also help you as well. According to Bachnan, a doctoral student who studied an experiment where people did random acts of kindness and the effects of that on their life satisfaction, it recorded that the more acts of kindness that a person did, the higher satisfaction that they had with their life and who they are as a person. Doing small acts of kindness is essential during this time. It can help in so many ways. A lot of people are going through a hard time, so doing these things can make them feel better and can make all the difference. So make sure that you go out and do a small act of kindness for the people in your community, whether that's writing a letter, making a surgical mask, or delivering coffee or drinks to your family and friends and coworkers. There are so many things that you can do, so make sure that during your free time that you have, you go out and do something to support and uplift our community, because we need that more now than ever.